The situations portrayed in this program are very dangerous. They have been performed by trained professionals in order to replicate worst-case scenarios of real-life hazards. Viewers should not, under any circumstances, attempt to replicate any of the situations presented in the program. Coming up on House Hazards. A chili recipe with some major kick.
Well, 5-alarm chili. All right.
A do-it-yourself melon massacre. And how flower power can leave your kitchen blowing in the wind.
2, 1.
Home, sweet home. Well, not as sweet as you might think. Your house is really out to get you. There are thousands of hazards hiding in every home, and our team of experts will separate the fiction from the facts so you can avoid domestic meltdown. Scientist Francesca will expose the hidden dangers lurking in every home. Engineer Dan will show you how everyday appliances can turn from labor-saving to life-threatening. And special effects expert Brendan will recreate the worst-case scenario. These bags of all-purpose flour may seem harmless enough. After all, flour is the main ingredient in bread and cake. Who doesn't like bread and cake? But imagine you're in the kitchen. The burner on your stove is on high, and you're baking with flour when a bag accidentally bursts, causing a flammable cloud of dust. This type of reaction has caused dozens of explosions in North America and Europe, resulting in hundreds of deaths. How can this happen in your home? The Hazard team is about to show you.
Let's see what happens when I try and light this flour on fire.
Ooh, there we go.
Well, that's not exactly the fire we were talking about, is it?
Still pretty flammable, though.
Some of it's burning, but it's only the top coat that has enough oxygen to react.
Let's make it airborne.
There you go. Unless you get enough oxygen to react with the flour, you're not gonna get that flashbang.
Dan's flashbang is the result of a perfect ratio. Flour is a fine dust made up of tiny particles, which are actually flammable. When these particles are mixed in an 8-to-1 ratio of oxygen to flour, they form the perfect dust cloud. By introducing a flame source, it causes a chain reaction, sparking every dust particle, creating a potentially explosive flash fire.
It has to be that perfect combination exposed to the flames. So we need the dust particle, we need oxygen, and we need an ignition source. And when all three of those things are perfectly aligned, that's when we get our flame. Wow!
The team will attempt to create a dust cloud big enough to fill the entire room using a common cooking appliance. But before they show you how this experiment can bake your whole kitchen, Dan and Brendan want to show you the most dangerous home reno jobs you can do on your own.
The guys are renovating the first floor bedroom. Brendan is painting, and Dan's installing a ceiling fan. The question is, which is worse, paint fumes or ceiling fan?
That's it?
North Americans are crazy about doing their own home improvements. But one person is sent to the emergency room every 5 seconds doing the most mundane jobs. Now, Dan wants to show how doing this work near a spinning ceiling fan can knock you senseless.
This fan can get up to 20 miles per hour, and I'll be checking it with this radar gun. Our little watermelon Brendan is gonna saunter lightly right into the ceiling fan, chopping off his head. All right, Francesca, can I get the fan on?
Yeah.
All right, give me a second to get up to speed. All right, Francesca, I'm up to 20 miles an hour.
If you were changing a light bulb near one of these spinning fans, here's what would happen to you.
So that was it?
Hey, that hurts.
Not exactly the decapitation Dan was hoping for, but at 20 miles per hour, these blades are generating an impact force equivalent to 15 pounds, which is more than enough to knock out teeth and crush major veins and arteries in your neck.
As a tall person, I assure you that this was very painful.
Dan has shown us the consequences of getting your head caught in the spinning blades of a ceiling fan. major headache. But Brendan wants to investigate something he thinks is way more hazardous.
Painting in a confined space where there's no ventilation is definitely a hazard.
He's going to demonstrate the hazards of spray paint fumes on the most basic level.
It's time to find out what cooked watermelon tastes like.
Paint is much more than just pigment. It contains volatile organic compounds, otherwise known as VOCs. These compounds are not only highly flammable, they've also been shown to cause cancer.
All right, Brendan, you've been torching her for like a minute and a half. Think you've made your point. It works, but really, I mean, your paint's not even burning. It's really just your propellant.
Burns like these send more than 5,000 people to emergency rooms every year. Add an open flame, and it can easily inflict a third-degree burn that can permanently scar anyone's melon.
Please make paint fumes and ceiling fans as hazardous as possible.
We've seen how a ceiling fan can knock you senseless, and how paint fumes and fire can give you a wicked tan. But the guys want to ramp things up and show you the absolute worst-case scenarios.
Dan attempted to decapitate his mannequin with a ceiling fan and failed. Brendan burnt the side of his mannequin's face off and didn't even do that much damage. I have given them one final opportunity to make their items as hazardous as possible to see which is worse.
This is my murder fan.
In order to win the competition, Dan is going all out. He's replacing the ceiling fan's plastic blades with stainless steel aviator blades. He's also rigging the fan's motor to a variable frequency drive, so he can dial it up to the same speed as a high-powered industrial fan.
You know what, Watermelon Francesca, your hair looks good. Your teeth look incredible. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. All right, you ready?
All right, power on. Turning it up.
The blades are now spinning at a terrifying 3,000 RPM. And here's what it would look like if you were to walk into it head first.
Oh my God, that was so violent.
As the watermelon enters the fan, the twin blades deliver over 100 cuts per second. That's one way to make a fruit salad.
It's everywhere.
Chop the top of my melon head right off.
I'll give it to him. That was okay.
Oh, come on, that was spectacular.
I've got something better.
Now, Brendan wants to take his flammable paint scenario to the next level. He's using the same kind of paint fumes he used to cook his melon. But this time, he's filling the entire room and sealing it shut, recreating an accident that sends dozens of North Americans to burn units every year.
I'm just rigging up an ignition system.
What exactly are we looking at?
Danikin and Mancheska.
Yeah.
I filled this room full of oil paint fumes and thinner fumes, and they're all very, very flammable. And now I'm gonna blow it up.
You actually think that this is gonna be worse than my 3,000 RPM murder fan?
I think there's only one real way to find out, and that's by me pushing the button.
Believe it or not, people have actually leveled their houses making the same stupid mistake. Here's why paint fumes and fire shouldn't be mixed.
3, 2, 1!
That is a fire, and that was a boom.
Now, that's one bathroom you wouldn't want to light a match in. The Hazard team has created a flash fire using all-purpose flour. Now, they want to see if this standard kitchen mixer can create an airborne cloud of flour big enough to light the entire kitchen on fire.
All right, here we go.
They hope the beater blades on this mixer will stir up enough flour to create a cloud of flammable dust.
We do get
A little bit. I can see it in the foreground.
There you go.
The mixer is kicking up a flammable cloud of dust directly above the bowl. But it's not enough to set the room on fire. For that, they're going to need a much more powerful appliance to get the flour circulating.
All right, so clearly flour is flammable, but how can we maximize the hazard?
I say we do what we did and just make it bigger. More fire, more flour.
Huge industrial fans on both sides to just push all the flour right onto the flames.
High-powered fans like these make sense in any hot kitchen.
Large fan coming through.
By aiming them at the ceiling, they should suck all the flour off the table and into the air, creating a cloud of dust.
All right, I think we're done.
All right, blow torches on, let's get out.
Once that cloud comes in contact with the open flames, it should be goodbye kitchen.
You gonna hit it? You ready? 3, 2, 1.
The situations portrayed in this program are very dangerous. They have been performed by trained professionals in order to replicate worst-case scenarios of real-life hazards. Viewers should not, under any circumstances, attempt to replicate any of the situations presented in the program. The pressure cooker. Once found only on the bottom shelves of your grandma's kitchen cupboard, the sales of this device have recently skyrocketed. So have their pressurized lids. The Hazard team has set up a cook-off to test this device that seriously injures hundreds of people every year.
You're the chili king, are you not?
I make a mean chili.
Over 50% of pressure cooker-related injuries involved explosions or liquid bursting out of the pressure cooker.
There's more meat.
Francesca and Brendan are making some chili to test the hazards of a pressure cooker. Anyone who's used a pressure cooker knows that they're dangerous.
It is great. It's the best chili ever.
What makes a pressure cooker different than a normal pot is the sealed lid. As the temperature inside the cooker rises, the molecules move and expand with nowhere to go, creating enough pressure to raise the boiling point of water from 100 degrees to 120 degrees Celsius. The only safety mechanism on this pot is the steam release on the lid, which kicks in when the pressure rises above 15 psi. Any more than that, and the cooker can explode.
If any of the safety mechanisms on this device are compromised, you can have a very messy situation.
So you can see the pressure cooker's venting off steam,
Yep.
which means that it's maintaining its 15 psi, 121 degrees Celsius. This is still hazardous, though.
We have something under pressure that's above boiling.
If we made it improperly maintained, or a pressure cooker that's got a faulty safety valve,
If the steam valve is compromised, no steam is going to be released.
or somehow we're able to open the pressure vessel while it's still under pressure, then that could be pretty dangerous.
Human error aside, it's a dangerous tool in the kitchen, and I think people underestimate it.
Should we go check on it?
Yeah.
Let's open it.
Whoa! You can't open it while it's on its contents under pressure. There's a reason there's a safety lock on it. If you're going to open it, I'm going to be nowhere near it.
Okay, I've got some safety gear. I'll put some safety
Terrible
gear
idea.
on.
Modern pressure cookers have a lock that prevents you from opening them while cooking. But that's not stopping Brendan from forcing it open, recreating how many of these injuries occur.
Our pressure cooker had a maximum pressure of 15 psi. It's a good thing Brendan was wearing his protective gear. When he ripped that lid off, you could see the steam and the pressure just come flying out. Now let's see what happens when we disengage the safety mechanism.
Francesca is sealing up the vent holes to replicate an unwashed pressure cooker that's had its steam release clogged by crusty food.
What I've done is removed the steam release. I'm filling both of the holes and sealing them shut so that no steam can escape.
As the pressure builds inside the cooker, it has no way to escape. And with no way to escape, there's only one thing that can happen.
Well,
That is some explosive chili. 5-alarm chili.
that's a new recipe for me.
Definitely don't want that to happen in your kitchen.
No. Look how far it flew.
Cool, looks deformed.
Yeah, it had a rough half hour.
We're lucky we were doing this outside. Can you imagine if you were enclosed in your kitchen?
That would be, not good. If you contain pressure in any vessel, it will eventually find the weak part, the fault. In this case, it happened to be the lid. When the pressure became too much, that's where the lid went.
Normally, a pressure cooker is hazardous. You've got steam and pressure. But if your safety mechanisms ever get gunked up, you've essentially got a bomb.
I'm not going to eat chili for a very, very long time.
The Hazard team wants to show how a cloud of flour can create a violent flash fire that could bake your kitchen to a crisp.
All right, here we go.
They've already tried using a stand mixer, but it failed to stir up a big enough cloud.
Large fan coming through.
Now, they're hoping these high-powered fans will deliver the kind of turbulence they need.
3, 2, 1.
They've pointed the fans at the ceiling so that they suck up all the flour on the table and disperse it through the room. If it works, these candles will spark a chain reaction that will cause a fireball. But not only are the fans failing to disperse the flour, they're actually putting the candles out.
It's not gonna work.
To make this experiment work, the team needs a stronger flame source and a way to fill the room with all the flour, all at once.
We need a huge cloud of flour. What if we had an air compressor?
Well, we could use the air cannon.
That way we can load all of the flour in, a burst of wind that will push the flour airborne. The only thing we need is a flame source that won't go out.
We need a mean propane torch. Like the same thing you'd use in like a barbecue, essentially.
You want a tiger torch?
Yeah.
For a dust cloud to violently combust, the team needs that 8-to-1 ratio of oxygen to flour that makes ignition possible.
I just want to make sure that it's high enough that when it shoots the flour out, it lands in the middle of the room.
Based on the measurements of this kitchen, they're filling the funnel of this air cannon with a 10-kilogram bag of flour, hoping that will do the trick. The team is also bringing in this heavy-duty pressurized gas torch, so powerful that even the cannon won't extinguish its flame. This air cannon has a tank of oxygen pressurized to 60 psi and is hooked up to a funnel filled with flour. When the team triggers the cannon, it will release a burst of air, forcing the flour out of the funnel, where it will pass through the flame of the torch, sparking a violent flash fire.
Frankie, can you turn the gas on?
Got it. All the way open.
Thank you. Get out of here. Ready?
Yeah.
Get the trigger.
In 3, 2, 1.
Road collisions account for only 3% of vehicle fires,
You think it's dangerous to drive? What about parking?
which means the other 97% happen when your car isn't moving at all.
Brendan, what are you doing? Come in the house.
Actually, you should come to the bomb shelter.
Brendan wants to recreate what happens if you come home and park your car over something that's already on fire, like a pile of burning leaves.
You should actually come to the bomb shelter right now. Like now.
What are you
like
talking-
now. Like
Brendan!
now.
The car's gas tank is nearly empty, which you'd think would make this far less hazardous. But think again. The fumes inside the tank are far more volatile than gasoline in liquid form. When exposed to an open flame, great balls of fire. while the firefighters extinguish the inferno. The hazard team is ready to take their flower cloud experiment to the next level. They've filled a pressurized air cannon with all-purpose flour and aimed it at an industrial-strength torch to show you how a dust cloud can leave your kitchen in ashes.
Get the trigger?
Yes, sir.
The flame is hot and ready. Now all Dan has to do is trigger the air cannon.
3, 2, 1.
This flash fire isn't just igniting the flour in the room, it's burning up all the oxygen, too. If you're unlucky enough to get caught in its wake, your lungs would fill instantly with burning hot flames that would leave you breathless. Permanently.
There's a flash of flames, bit of smoke, and it's like it never happened.
Can we go check it out?
Yeah, let's go. Oh, wow, it's all over the wall.
The amount of damage that happened in a few seconds is unbelievable.
Where the cannon actually shot stuff onto the wall, there's really heavier marks. What's terrifying about this situation is that the fuel for this fire was something as innocent as flour. Something that you bake with every day. Something that's in every single kitchen throughout the world. When you get a cloud of flour like that, you don't know what could happen, especially when there's an ignition source. This is a serious home hazard.